Welcome, dear readers, to Cover My Ass, where baffling books are reviewed but not read by yours truly. My name is Stan still.
And I'm Kay, and remember, we only judge a book by its cover.
And we find ourselves once more in the dueling pit in the book-built village of Librorium in your library. And Kay, how did the negotiations with Tristan go for the duel that we're going to have here for the mayorship of Librorium?
They were up for it.
Excellent.
Yes.
Okay, so after just to catch everybody up on the unnecessary lore that sprung up about this literary review podcast, I have, there was a failed election for who should be mayor of this town that I've
it was clearly
that
it should be Stan. Unfortunately, then there were like 4 people named Stan. Technically, there were 3, but then a 4th one wiggled themselves in with a post-factum name.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it last minute if you do it after the fact. That's not last minute.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that you appreciate my cleverness.
Yes, let's go with that.
But so what were the terms that, because you went and discussed it with the 3 raccoons in trench coat that I'll be facing off in this here arena. And what's the terms of the combat? What are the weapons or, vicious barbs or insults? Or how are we?
Oh, I mean, it was suggested to dueling for compliments, but...
Did you suggest that or did they?
I did.
Okay, dueling for compliments.
Yeah.
Okay. And who's going to judge these compliments?
Me, of course. I'm the only impartial person in the whole village.
That is true.
There were other suggestions. There was bookbinding equipment was also one of the the weapon suggestions.
There are 3 of them, so they have an inherent advantage.
They were willing to tag team.
Oh, okay. Yeah, all right. So we'll do like a little relay race. I mean, they are just little raccoons, so their stamina must not be as great as
2
mine.
on 1. So basically 2 against 1, and 1 can tag in and out.
Okay. Wrestling rules. That's okay.
Kind of pretty much like that. Yes. So that was one of the suggestions. There was a washing contest as well.
Yeah. No, they're definitely going to win that one.
Well, yeah, I figured that was a little bit of a shoe-in for them. So
yeah, nice try, Stan. Nice try, Stan.
I'm pretty sure we had a few other things that came across the table which were mostly dismissed.
That they suggested, I presume, like tunnel digging and a grub sifting,
lockpicking and
garbage
trash
analysis,
trash collection, yes, that kind of thing.
You were right that I would have reviewed those.
Yeah, entirely sensible.
Did penmanship come up? Penmanship?
No, I don't think it did.
No, I don't imagine.
No. Were you like a writing contest with them, as in like actual calligraphy?
I mean, they're just little raccoons, man. I don't know if they're pretty good mimics.
They've got pretty deft paws.
They're good at disguises. Yeah,
and they have been maintaining this library for quite a long time. To continue with a little unnecessarily lore a little bit more, I always thought it was gnomes, but it turns out it was raccoons who were doing
Deep cut, Kay. Yeah. I think that it'll have to be compliments. And right. I know that you can't coach me, but can I try some?
No, yeah, of course.
Can we have a little sparring round? Would that be okay?
Oh yeah, a very excellent suggestion of you. Very well done.
Oh, you're already doing it. Okay. No, it isn't. Fuck. No, that's not it, is it? Okay. Yes, and is that one?
It's a good way to buy yourself a few extra seconds.
Parry. It's more like a parry, right?
Yes.
So you've started with the thrust, right? You start with with swordsmanship and dueling. You have the right of attack, and then you can perform the first thrust.
It depends a little bit on which form of fencing you're talking about. You do have it in foil and saber, not in épée.
Okay, and an épée is just free for all. Épée is known as the Mad Max.
It's the one where you
fencing.
just stab anybody wherever you will. The toe stabs are very popular because wrist stabs, any hit's fine.
Of anyone within sword range.
Well,
so bystanders.
1-on-1.
No, it's just how much blood you get on your blade. No, I get it.
Okay. We're doing the old-fashioned style. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. How else are you going to wind up with a Heidelberg scar if you?
Well, I mean,
they
actually have special masks for that, which basically protect the entire face except the head and face, except the cheeks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they had special masks which were specifically designed to allow cuts to the face without doing any
damage to eyes, mouths, all the stuff that you need. Good grief. Let's not do that. So I've got, so you thrusted with, that's an excellent idea.
Yes.
I failed my first counterattack, but then I parried with yes and. Well, it's sort of a deflection. Now, what would be a better deflection?
The best defense is a good offense.
Hold on. Here's the parry. Parry. So you come at me again with the same attack.
As I said, that's a very clever idea. Very well done of you, I believe I said. Was it?
Okay. And here's my parry. Oh, you really think so?
I do. It was excellent.
Okay, now you've fallen into my trap because you've doubled down, and now I can riposte. Well, I'm sure you would think so.
That's not a compliment.
Ah, no, but this is I understand the art of compliment dueling because you're actually it is a savage backstabbing.
No,
it's
that would be saying, yes, dearie, that's lovely.
Yeah, you're getting way ahead of yourself. Kay, come on. This is a civilized duel. We're trying not to, don't pull the nuclear option.
Well.
It's like bringing a gun to a sword fight. Now, what you want to do is something more like, I can see you've really done your best.
Oh, well, you're moving into backhanded compliments now.
Yes! Do you see my strategy?
Yes. It could work. How would you apply that to raccoons?
To a raccoon. Okay, obviously I don't want to be discriminatory based on their species, so I'll definitely stay away from that. I do genuinely appreciate a lot about Tristan. They have kept the library in immaculate condition.
Despite their efforts.
Yeah, no, I'm completely... We're of one mind in that regard. And they did impersonate you very well. Apparently me as well. You were convinced.
Oh, yeah, completely. I was wondering why you hadn't suddenly had a taste for raincoats.
Yeah.
And fedoras.
And bring all my food down to the stream to
and why
gently wash
your
it.
eyes had gone a little bit beady and stuff like that.
And I had extra ones at nipple height.
Extra eyes, yes.
Yeah.
Nipple eyes, I suppose. I mean, I guess the hand had to see
what they were
now
doing. That I think of it, there's actually not that much that I appreciate about Tristan. So I am going to have to stick with the backhanded compliments. And to your question, I guess it would be more like, no, I mean, they have kept racking my brain. How does one give a backhanded compliment?
You say something which seems to be positive, but in fact is like scathing criticism.
Mm-hmm. There's also damning with faint praise.
Well, there's that, yeah. Something like, oh, you did a lovely job on the dueling pit or something. You can barely see the blood anymore or something like that.
Yeah, okay, so you're sort of over-specifying and then thereby diminishing the total performance.
I suppose so, that would work, yeah.
Like but the floor is pretty clean.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
And you put the butt in before.
Yes.
And so you're trying to... Yeah, okay. Shall we try... Actually, can we try it the other way around? I'll be Tristan, and I'll come at you with a pretty sincere compliment.
Uh-huh.
Oh, you're very well dressed.
Why, thank you. You've done... let me think about that.
It's difficult, right?
It is.
Yeah.
Why, thank you. You've done an adequate job yourself.
See, that's not a compliment. That's no. So if I was you and I was judging it, I would give the point to Stan.
It's hard.
All right. We'll swap places. You give me that compliment again.
Okay. You compliment like a dairy farmer.
I don't have one for that.
The classic response would be, well, that's you compliment like a cow. That's.
I was going to say, you're dressed very well today too.
Oh, yeah.
And you put the today in.
Oh, I see what you mean. That's subtle.
Yeah.
I guess you could go for a change, you are as well, but that's a little bit blunt. You are as well. It makes for a nice change. That would be a better way to do it, I suppose.
Oh, yeah. All right, so we've got to practice this some more. I don't know. Maybe I'll just become better at regular compliments, and then we can, and then I can just defeat them in a straight game. So I think that's an excellent start to my new and hopefully short career as a gladiator before I ascend to mayorhood. So, speaking of great start, what do we have in store for our readers today?
Yes, this week's book is called Venus Prime, and it's Arthur C. Clarke's Venus Prime number 6, but it's not written by Arthur C. Clarke.
No,
it's written by Paul Preuss.
Preuss.
Yes.
It's volume 6.
And I think it's a sequel to last week's book.
Yes, because last week we had Venus Inc., as in Venus Incorporated.
And now we have Venus Prime.
Which was, that doesn't happen to us very often, does it? That we actually wind up with a sequel.
Definitely not sequentially.
I mean... It also tends to happen that sequels tend to be written by other writers.
Which is weird. I don't know. I never understand how that happens.
This is such a weird library that you've got.
It is. But I mean, you get, especially with something like Manx In Wars, which was it started by Niven and everybody else started writing in that.
Oh, yeah, they were having immense fun with it.
I guess it's a shared universe.
And how kind of Arthur C. Clarke to do that as well and to open up his Venus cycle. I mean, I guess the previous book was written under a pseudonym by Arthur C. Clarke.
Probably,
But so, last week's book, for the readers at home who didn't hear our review, was about a tech billionaire with his mega conglomerate accidentally mistweeting the planet that he aimed his space program toward, and an upstart young scientist in the ranks of his business seized the opportunity to fulfill her lifelong ambition of a scientific mission toward Venus, which wound up actually with a full-on, cloud colony on Venus, Cloud City, I believe it was called.
I think it was actually called Venus Prime, which is probably what the title of this week's book comes from.
Oh, that's right. Yes. Definitely.
That makes perfectly
a
good
lot
sense.
more sense, definitely.
But so what we see on the cover of the book is the main character from the last book, and also a very important character in this one. Now First Minister Theta Grunberg.
Originally the
intern.
the intern, who then became lead scientist under the guidance of Carol Boffin, now alas deceased at this point in the story. But in return, she's now mentoring her son Barry Boffin,
wearing her I guess her Venusian environmental suit, because Venus is still like not a very hospitable planet.
No, it's a really cool set of armor. Now it looks very comfortable now that I look at it.
It's like it's the yoga pants of space armor, I suppose.
Well, but it does have the harmonica style sort of hinging in the knees and along the hips and loins. So you've got a lot of mobility.
She's got skinny arms though,
and a weird bob cut.
And in the back we have one of the the Venusian cloud manatees. Although what's doing out in space, I have no idea.
Yeah,
the planet in the background could conceivably be Venus. It's a little bit reddish, but like Venus is a bit
sulfuric,
so that makes sense enough.
So we follow up last week's book, Venus Inc. with Venus Prime, after the Cloud City that was founded by Theta Grunberg, then the lead scientist, was essentially abandoned as a tax write-off and a debt mule by what was his name? Elton
something.
Musk.
No, Elton. No.
Stank. That's right.
Elton Stank. Yes, Elton Stank.
What a good thing. Was largely abandoned and continued with its mission of responsible atmospheric harvesting using the seeded manatees that were floating around in the upper atmosphere. And
yes, they were basically into the Venusian algae farms.
Yes, that's right.
Probably something in the range of 20, 30 years later, when
Easily.
Venus Prime has been built upon, and like they've got some other floating cities going, like by the names of Venus Secundo, Venus Terz, Venus Perfect Fifth, and Venus Minor Quartan.
Yes.
All floating about and having their own little specialties things.
And a weird new religion has emerged here, hasn't it? Because you've got all these Venus. I heard there was a Venus chord.
Yes,
that Theta played, and it pleased the Lord.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. So we start off with First Minister Grunberg riding into to Venus Prime, formerly known as Cloud City, now just one of many of the Cloud Cities, on her trusty atmospheric manatee Moo. Mm-hmm. They had a thing with Greek letters,
isn't
didn't
that
they?
Mew? Yeah.
Well,
it's more of a cat thing. Moo, Mew.
That's right. Mm-hmm. Named by her infant daughter, Zeta Grunberg. They're just crazy for those. Those Greek letters.
I guess back in the day that these books were being written, that was kind of like still, it gives a certain scientific
cachet.
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. It makes it like seem more scientifically solid, I suppose.
There's a certain appeal to ancientness there as well. As long as we're, I wonder if maybe the fraternities of the United States college system have that as well. I mean, they all Kappa.
I think that's all just a bunch of blustering, I suppose.
Gosh, really?
No,
really? You think what? No way!
The Greek lettering is like, are you going Greek? Isn't that actually a thing that they ask? Are you going to go Greek? Or something.
But, sorry, I don't mean to be mean toward anyone who's in one of these organizations. To each their own.
You're also not practicing your complimenting.
That's right. But I wonder, maybe, is it more like, how American local radio stations have to have a certain letter code?
Right.
Like W something because it starts with wireless and then...
Right, but I think you just get them one assigned to you when you apply for your license.
So maybe that's the same thing that happens with fraternities. Or in this case, children of the Grunberg family, you just get assigned a certain number.
Wherever, like a license plate here in the Netherlands. Yeah, you get one. You can't. We don't have vanity plates here, so you just get a number.
Which one would you least like to have of all the letters?
Of all the
Greek letters, which one would you least like to have as your... I mean, Mu is kind of up there. So is Nu.
I don't think Phi would be...
I mean, it's a really cool symbol.
I suppose.
But like Phi,
Tau,
Psi, and Xi are hard to pronounce.
I would like Tau, Tau is kind of
Tau, that's kind of cool, yeah.
Kappa also worked, but I'm like K inclined, so...
Yeah. Theta, zeta, eta, those are hard. Oh, if you have triplets, you can have theta, zeta, and eta.
Yeah, it's alliterative. What's it called again when the alliteration is at the back of the word? Rhyme, right, that's the one.
Yes. You're thinking of assonance. So alliteration is when it's the same vowel, and assonance is when it's the same consonant happening over again.
Right.
So like Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers, that's assonance.
Oh, yes. Or the Dutch version, which always gets English speakers. Liesje leerde lotje lopen langs de lange lindenlaan.
She sells seashells by the seashore.
Yes. I'm not the pheasant plucker, I'm the pheasant plucker's son. I'm only plucking pheasants until the pheasant plucker comes.
Yeah, okay.
That one is a minefield.
Certainly when we're struggling to get away from the big red E, which we've only managed once before. But so...
big red E?
For explicit.
Oh, right, yes.
So First Minister Grunberg arrives back in Venus Prime, riding Moo. She's greeted by her young ward, Barry Boffin.
Yes.
With some troubling news. The once peaceful and isolated and flourishing planet Venus has started receiving some signals that they can't exactly recognize.
They've kind of lost touch with Earth, is what we learn here. And they're kind of like vaguely aware that that's where they originate from, but they kind of, after being written off by Mr. Stank and his corporation, it's kind of forgotten from living memory, despite the fact that Miss Grunberg was still around.
So most of the people there did actually have a Twitter account like 20 or 30 years ago.
Yeah,
they know about that.
They got turned off. They lost the blue check marks and everything like that. So it kind of went down. I mean, the Venusian economy hasn't been at a standstill. They moved on from
flourished.
Algae farming, and I mean, what's the next thing above algae? You get into shrimp.
Yes,
and they've got
krill,
and they've got a flourishing krill and shrimp farming going on.
And and did they make lots of kinds of shrimp? Did they make lots of products with shrimp? Do you have maybe an exhaustive list where you can just tell us all the different kinds of shrimp?
Well, you've got langoustines, and then you've got...
I was going to say, like brine shrimp and fried shrimp. And that's the joke I was going to go for.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, it's cool.
I'm just like thinking North Sea. You've got the like tiny little grey North Sea shrimp, and then you've got the bigger, and you've got the tiger prawns, and you've got the...
See, I just don't love thinking about shrimp.
No,
I'm not a shrimp eater. I know that some people are.
You're not into sea bugs. I know that.
Yes, they are little Cthulhus.
Yes. Well, I mean, I'm okay with shrimp. The one that really freaked me out are the horseshoe crabs. They kind of look like a German World War I helmet, but then you turn them over and it's just all fucking legs. I'm just like, nope.
That's invertebrates in general. Like, I feel you. Invertebrates you occupy a useful niche in the ecological system, and there's a lot more of you than there are of us.
Yes.
No, you're all doing great. We'll be up here with all the oxygen. You stay down there with all of your legs. It's fine.
First Minister Grunberg has come to supervise how the original algae farms have now been turned into shrimp ponds. Well,
yes,
not exactly ponds because they're still free floating around in.
They've got like super buoyant shrimp at this point.
I guess yes, and it's more like 3D corrals, and of course they have the manatee rustlers working for them, which are like the
they're sort of herding the
manatees,
the
shrimp, and it's quite an involved job where you have to like be spatial aware and aware of the currents and everything, because like if you get a cross current going through your herd of shrimp, they'll be all over the place, and you'll be rounding them up for days.
And it's so cool. Like it's the young generation that has really taken to this. I mean, the older scientists grew up with two-dimensional thinking. They just don't have the instincts that like Barry Boffin does when he greets the manatee Moo and goes off to do some of his herding and rustling. Like it's fantastic. The three-dimensional navigational acumen is astonishing.
But yes,
I am getting good at compliments.
Yes, you are. Very well done.
Oh, God damn it, got me again.
So yes, signals are being received, and it takes a little bit of going through the old records to find out the broadcast frequencies and the decoding signals.
This is why it comes down to First Minister Grunberg, who was the one who devised most of those protocols and recognized them.
And she realizes that this is basically old Elton communications coming down from old Earth. At this point, they're getting messages, and like there's a food crisis on Earth, and people are dying, and like they're pleading for help from Venus.
Yes, it's rather curious how these are phrased, because I mean it comes in via the Farlink satellite network.
Yes,
they haven't heard much from Earth, but they've seen it glittering like a fucking diamond in the sky, surrounded by billions of these.
The pale blue dot.
Once a pale blue dot, now a fucking disco ball, surrounded by light contaminating, gleaming satellites that. Are up there to compensate for policy failures because...
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's kind of a thing. Like, the only reason that Starlink is a good idea for getting internet connection to less served regions of, for example, the United States, is because policy failures have prevented like the mandatory connection of those areas via much more efficient terrestrial means.
It's like the postal service, it's like you are required to offer your services to everyone at a fixed price, and you can't like basically cherry pick, which is what's been happening.
Exactly.
But let's not rag on the... We're doing compliments, so let's not rag on the United States too much here.
Well, that's hard, but and not exactly fair, but a worthy thing to do. So via the Farlink, they get this comment, and yes, people are starving, but it takes them a while to sort of decode the language, because the language of Earth has apparently changed. And like, they're not talking about citizens, they're talking about their independent contractors.
Oh, everybody's an independent contractor now.
Yes. All of our billions and billions of independent contractors are starving, and what is anyone going to do about this?
Venus goes like, oh, well, we happen to have like a...
hilarious food surplus. Like, why did we farm so much krill for such a small population?
It just happened that the economics of scale are something that cannot be denied, even when you're like working on a small population. You have to keep them busy, and it's just going super well.
Yeah.
So they start... they basically open up contacts with Earth, start talking with them, get a little deal going where they start sending food to Earth, which is, of course, at first met with a great enthusiasm and great thanks from Earth.
Yes, our saviors from close to Venus.
But soon enough, the request becomes a demand, and Earth is asking for increased shipments to...
God, hey. Okay. Yes, a very good joke, Kay. And the demands become ultimatums. Because you give an inch and they want a whole foot, you give a finger and they want a whole arm, and it begins the 7-day war between Earth and Venus,
which is astonishing because it takes almost 7 days for a signal to go back. Well, it takes a lot less than that, but like especially any shipments take a long time to travel back and forth.
Well, yes, but this is by conventional wisdom
yes.
And science that First Minister Grimberg had. But as she recalls from her erstwhile employer, Elton Stank, he believed that light speed was a Chinese hoax designed to...
and he's proven them... Well, actually, he paid someone to prove them wrong.
Yeah, but so Earth has several advantages that Venus currently doesn't. So the ultimatums that they received came from what sort of passes as the unified government of Earth at this point, an organization called Ancestry.gov. It has... Yes, it's curious. It has evolved from Ancestry.com, a popular place where you can look up what your ancestry is, and has sort of become the total repository for everyone's heritage and destiny, determining their relative value.
Oh, that's horrible.
Yeah, further supported by a system called Racebook.
Oh, that was really not very good either.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we do that for like animals. The stud book, I believe the official name is called, for like endangered species.
Oh,
where they keep
a stub book.
Stud book.
Oh, stud book. Yeah. Oh, right. Yes. Okay.
Like basically a list of all the members of that species in captivity. They keep track of the family relations between them and breed for a most genetically diverse population.
Oh, that's brilliant.
So I guess Racebook is a little bit of it's leaning towards eugenics at this point.
Yes, it has done for a while. So like the world of Earth has settled down into a very small number of repeatedly cloned multisquillionaires. An innovation that was first revealed in the previous book. You remember Yoko Clono?
Yes.
Yeah, so after that, cloning became a popular thing. So the world is now ruled by Zach Dorsey, Steph Bezos, a gender swap there. That was fun. Clarke Zuckerberg, not much of imagination there. Phil Gates and the Queen of Earth, Eve Jobs.
Oh.
Yeah.
She's like the Borg queen of Earth at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, she's got rid of Stank and his empire.
Yeah, she took care of that, and she's the one like sending the fleet across the solar system to Venus to invade it in what is planned to be a 7-day war. And on Pokemon Day, they have...
Pokemon Day, right.
Yes, unclear whether it's... I was unclear. Was it Pokemon Day or was it Poke Monday?
I think it was Poke Monday because Mr. Clarke was definitely doing a fishy theme here, so that was definitely... I mean, basically the story they tell on Earth is that Venus is being shellfish for not sharing their...
These are very good puns, Kay. I've got to say in practice, these are very good puns, Kay, and everyone likes them. Christ.
And they have to be like basically punished and basically brought to heel. But, I mean, after
You
all,
should be punished.
oh well. They claim Venus has everything to thanks to Earth. Everything they have is thanks to Earth, and then now they should repay that kindness and like
Yes,
give
exactly.
Earth their food.
They managed to navigate through the solar system incredibly efficiently using what's called Starmin GPS, standing for Galactic Positioning System. So they actually arrived by Subaru's Day, which is the very next day.
So after Pokemon Day, we get Subaru's Day.
Yeah, and these craft sort of park in orbit, threatening the people below. And, you know, it must be absolutely terrifying for the people on Venus looking up and seeing these Earth craft sort of hovering menacingly that they don't know what they're going to be doing, because nobody could have conceived that in the final decades of the 21st century that Venus's humble affairs were being manipulated by galactic interferences. Not a soul could have surmised that the lives of manatees were of less consequence than a decimal point in the stock prices on Earth, and yet across marble boardroom tables beings immensely less scrupulous than ourselves surveyed this cloudy planet with jaundiced eyes and swiftly and ruthlessly laid vile plots against it. Kay,
Yes.
This book was a masterpiece. The person who wrote this, I love it so much.
That's very kind of you. You're being very generous towards Mr. Clarke here.
And this is entirely sincere, Mr. Clarke, or whoever the fuck wrote this book, Pulse, whatever. This is a work of genius.
I think it's heavily leaning on other works in the past, but, you know, like...
Poor artists borrow and great artists steal. So by the next day, Uncle Ben's day, the first landers arrive, and the ships just gorge out these landing crafts on their own.
It's not really landing because it's all floating in the clouds.
That's right. So while they initially seem like multi-legged landers that could land, like they are, they sort of inflate more like Zeppelins and the blimps that they well know. And so instead of like sending down tripods, they send out hipods.
Which is like the floating equivalent.
Yeah.
And they sent up a stock exchange, which they call the Prawn Broker.
Fuck.
And which gets a lot of the Venusian...
I was just taking a drink there when I remembered the Prawn Broker. And what a great pun that was.
When a lot of the manatee rustlers like start herding in the shrimp towards the prawn brokerage, it actually worked surprisingly well for Venus. Earth is hungry, and it'll basically take everything that they need.
Yeah.
And rather than actually just like demand that it be given to them, they actually start investing in the Venusian economy, and it's through the deviousness of capitalism start making them more and more dependent on Earth.
Yeah, because that's the brilliance of this 7-day war. Like, it's not just the hipods rampaging through uncooperative Venusian cities, threatening them with their deadly Blu-rays, but like by Napster's day. Now that one I thought was a bit of a stretch,
slightly archaic. One of like those things like, why is even October called October? It was like because of the 8th. Oh no, wait, that was on the.
It was once the 8th month.
Yes, no.
But then Julius Caesar decided that he had to have a month, and then Emperor Augustus also decided to have a month in between.
That's the one I was thinking about.
What?
No, that was like named for some Roman Empire, and that's like it's kind of archaic.
It was Caesar's heir.
Yeah, but it was like
originally.
It's archaic.
Actually, he was originally Octavian. Now that I think of it,
it makes no sense anyway. It's like it's all made up.
Speaking of made up, like by the next day, the end of the work week, Five Guys Day, the prawn brokerage is like the hub of the Venusian economy already. Like, crony capitalism on Earth is so infectious.
Oh, it goes very fast, and
it's
It
astonishing.
permeates through the Venusian economy and the Venusian social circles. And even though First Minister Grunberg tries to start a clandestine operation.
No, they physically hurt Kay. I can't stand anymore this book.
Unfortunately, she fails. Yes,
no,
she fails.
she failed.
And basically, Venus gets sucked in and becomes dependent on Earth. Their Venusian economy is like entirely dependent on the demand of shrimp and algae and other.
They become a single product economy, which is exactly what Earth wants. Turning their massive orbital Blu-rays onto the planet and carving, or I should say, branding more advertising opportunities into the atmosphere.
I don't know how that works with clouds, but
yeah, it's tricky.
I mean, I've heard of cloud writing, but I didn't imagine something like this when
it's through this branding with the Blu-rays that they carve Earth's sort of unified mantra onto the planet as a message to the rest of the universe.
Yes.
We care about your privacy.
Oh, God, yes.
Now, has there ever been a greater lie told by more powerful people to less powerful people?
Probably not.
On the last day of this war, the tide turns. and Venus manages to gain some measure of independence, or more independence from Earth than Earth would have liked. So on the last day of the week, Gun Day.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I had certain expectations when I saw this, and you would think that they become militarized, but no. They invent a new way to transport their excess food to Earth, rather than these shipments, rather than the prawn brokerage.
Yes.
They invent a method of almost contactless transportation of food via radio gastronomy.
That is a very clever way to do it.
Isn't it brilliant? They can actually beam food back to Earth. Straight into the homes of the independent contractors, bypassing all of the other middlemen and price gouging companies, and people can just have food delivered, broadcast right to them.
It comes out as a bit of a Deus Ex Machina, or a...
I thought it... I mean, it is part of a series. This is book 6 of the Venus cycle.
The Venus Septimus... No, Sextimus, I guess.
The duology, trilogy, pentalogy...
No, you skipped 4. Quadrology, I suppose.
Oh, yeah. Tetralogy, pentalogy, sexology. Sorry, that's actually what it is.
Okay.
Fuck.
Septology, octology.
We're doing the Venus sexology.
Unless there were more books, it could turn
it would have been really funny if we'd started off with that. But in the meantime, how are we going to rate this book?
Well,
because I did rather like it.
It was a great book.
I mean, the secret chord that Venus played, and it pleased the Lord. I thought that was very clever.
It was a very well placed little
and of course the brilliant monologue written by whoever
it should be an opening crawl, really.
It's exactly. Like that really got me interested in the story.
So, are we going to rate this book? I mean, we can rate it out of octos, like that's shrimp.
We've got the 7-day.
The
7-day war.
I mean,
so we've got Pokemon Day, we've got Subaru's Day, Uncle Ben's Day,
Napster Day, Five Guys Day. We care about your privacy.
Gun Day.
Gun Day. So why is Five Guys Day the 6th one? No, that is
It's Friday.
Oh, I get that.
And it's the 5th day.
No, never mind. I can't count, and I can't do days. It's me. It's not you. It's me.
Okay.
You're doing very well.
Oh, are you doing another one of those compliments?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that was a good one. That was a good one.
I snuck that in almost without you noticing.
You see, you are a fantastic coach. So, which of these days will you rate this book as?
I kind of like Pokemon Day, because it's like...
But you want Pokeballs on any day.
I like Pokeballs, so...
Especially after you've been talking about all this fantastic seafood.
Exactly.
So, Pokemon Day?
Pokemon Day,
out of the 7-day war?
Out of the 7-day war, definitely.
Speaking of reviews, if you look down at your podcasting device, you should be seeing a means to review this episode. Please leave some stars. We'd love to hear from you. We're Cover My Asscast on Twitter and covermyasscast@gmail.com. Let us know if you find any other covers of baffling books that we should review but not read on Cover My Ass. And speaking of, the name of our podcast, Transitional Material, is so addictive, isn't it?
Yes.
What do we have in store for our readers next week?
Next week's book is by Gregory Maguire, What the Dickens? The Story of a Rogue Tooth Fairy.
Oh, that about covers it. Thank you for joining us at Cover My Ass, where baffling books are reviewed but not read by yours truly. My name is Clarke.
And I'm Kay. And remember,
we only judge a book by its cover. Rogue Tooth Fairy. That sounds so dangerous and
scary, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, does she just not wait for the teeth to come out? Does she just go and take the...
Or maybe just curb stomping Tooth Fairy. That sounds like...
That's not going to be the title of this episode, I can tell you that.